Hey, 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 it's time for 8 days of power. We are on day 6, so we only have 2 more days to go. I am extremely excited because some of you have been showing up every day. Some of you have been watching the replays. So it's letting me know that you are getting it and you're doing the work. And I've been getting your messages and I'm excited about it. I want to make sure that the image is what it needs to be because I have my phone going sideways. So let me know if everything is clear on your end. I am Dr. Angela Shuttlesworth, CEO and founder of Healthy Villages, where we help you to increase your profit, performance, and power by perfecting your life, leadership, and legacy. So this week, not only this week, but we kind of crossed over because it's 8 days, so more than 7. We have been going on a journey together of really, as I call it, tapping in so we don't tap out. So in the midst of so much stress and overwhelm, generally that leaders face, this is a time that's dedicated solely to you to make sure that you are able to really find out what can you do for self that helps you to show up better in the world. And first of all, to make sure you're doing it for self because you want to do it for yourself and you deserve that. I always say you deserve you at your best, right? And then there's that next step of it helps you to be able to show up and show out. And because that's the thing, we don't need you playing small. We don't need you to not be who you are designed and who you desire to truly be. So I see that a couple of people are on, but it's not, for whatever reason, it's not telling me who's here. Go ahead and drop in the comment box and let me know who's on, and we'll go ahead and get started. So thus far, I always like to give a recap. We have talked about seeing ourselves as multidimensional beings, and that means that you see yourself as having, hey, honeydew, I'm so proud of you. You see, like, I'm here. I'm showing up every day. I love it. And making sure that you see yourself as having many different parts to you. We talk about wearing different hats, and normally that's in our service to other people. Like, I got to do so much. I got to do this. I got to do that. But what I'm talking about is really seeing all of you, the pieces, the parts of us that we sometimes kind of dismiss. And so we talked about our biological health, our psychological health, our spiritual health, our social health, and our cultural health. And tonight, if you saw the flyer, it said, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. See, I don't know why I end up singing on all these songs, on these videos, but it just made me think about that. And the interesting part is, as most of y'all know, I am in Prague, Czech Republic until 2 days. I'm moving to Thailand. We went today to what they call the sex machine store. And so it was interesting. We have this whole conceived thought about sexuality, like, oh my God, it's just getting to be so worse. Listen, let me tell you, when I saw what they were doing back in the 1920s, I wasn't ready. I was like, what? Where does that go? What is this? Oh, whoa, I wasn't ready. So it's just something to think about, and it gives you a totally different perspective. So we're not talking about going that far-fetched, but I am going to tie some of it into what we're talking about. But for when we're talking about sex, we want to take it to give us some context. Hey, Tori, thanks for joining in. So we got Maryland, we got Florida in the house. Hey. It is literally talking about the safe expression and engagement of intimacy of your choosing. So it's not necessarily saying sex in that sense, but that's when we say sexual dimension of who we are. It's whatever you choose for that to be. I'm ready to move also. Hey, Mama Linda, didn't even know you was in here. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love you being here. The support means more than you know. Thank you. So when we say safe expression and engagement, it means making sure that you get the space and the freedom to get to do whatever you want to do in that realm. So regardless of, and not the judgment of feeling like it's an extreme amount of something that you want to do. It's, hey, this is how I choose to safely express myself. So the whole, putting yourself in harm and danger, and to what extreme, as long as it's something that is of your choosing. And that's something that's not being forced upon you. So that's the biggest thing. So as always, I got 3 questions for you. And I think, we got 3 today. And the first one is, what are your views towards sexual expression and how do you honor them? So a lot of times people may have sexual desires and or certain things that they want to know about, but they're either their spiritual, religious thoughts kind of, or even their parents or traditions or where they're from will make them feel like, I'm not supposed to want to do that. I'm not supposed to want to talk about this. I'm not supposed to even, who do I talk to about these kind of things? Because I don't have anybody that is able for me to have that safe, meaning without judgment, conversation about my ability to express myself the way that I want to be. So think about that again. So again, it is, what are your views towards sexual expression, however you define it, and how do you honor them? And again, the next one is, how often are you able to honor your sexual desires? And so again, it's, when do you have the desires and when are you able to do them? So it's not just a matter, again, this is beyond sex. This is sexual expression. So for me, even my femininity is a portion of my expression of myself and how I choose to show up in that realm. Some people are much more feminine and use that. Like, I have a girlfriend, I tell her when she does these things with her eyes, she can captivate anybody. and we know that also comes into leadership as well, when you can just get people and you can just say yes, and you can put your head to the side and make your eyes gaze. All of those things are a piece of our power, and men do it as well. And oftentimes we kind of feel like that's a bad thing. And so what I'm saying is, as long, again, safe expression, then there's nothing wrong with that. That's nothing that we should be hiding from. It's nothing that we should not allow ourselves to engage in. So we have to think about that. And then lastly is, how do your views on sexual expression and your choice influence your leadership? And the thing about that is, if you are oppressing yourself and you have all of these desires in the world, but you're not willing to take risks, it goes back to what we were talking about a couple of days ago. You're not going to take risk in the same realm as well. And if you like for example, I have on purple fingernail polish. Somebody may say that that's just, not professional. It's not something you should be doing. But that, again, is a way that I express myself. So, hey, Wayne, thanks for joining in. So what are the things that, as a leader, if you have a team member who is true, like we just talked about the teacher from Atlanta who got the teacher of the year, and she had a nice rump. I'm going to say nice. I ain't even going to say large. It was nice. And it was, what was professional attire? So if you in your mind are sitting up here thinking, oh, I can't show my cleavage, or I can't show my hips, or certain things like that, then as a leader, you're going to be oppressing your staff. And that's going to come across where they don't feel like they can completely be themselves. And it crosses over into the sexual realm as well. So then now we're at a conversation about, same sex, using the same bathrooms and different things like that. So what if you have general, talk about gender identity, that falls into this conversation as well, and or gender, I can't even talk, gender expression. So if you go into the whole realm of, you have males that may necessarily want to wear hair a certain way, or different colors, or different things like that, is that frowned upon? But if they're doing the job and they're able to show up, is it that you really don't like it, or is it that you don't like it because they're doing something that you weren't willing to do for yourself? So you have to sometimes, when there's a conflict, look at it and then say, okay, what is this mirroring for me that I'm not liking about it because I'm not willing to go to that place for myself? And oftentimes we don't think about that. We just like to blame people and be like, what they doing? They know they ain't supposed to be doing that. Who says? They get to define it, as long as it's not, again, safe expression and not throwing themselves onto somebody else that puts that other person in harm's way. So we want to think about that. So again, 3 questions. What are your views towards sexual expression and how do you honor them? How often are you able to honor your desires? And you think about it, how when we're in the workplace sometimes, and like I know for women, if you stressed out, sometimes people are like, oh, she knows she need to go and get her some this beep. Because it's like you can't concentrate because you're just mad at everybody. You have this sexual frustration. That needs to be a part of the conversation. And the more we don't have that as a part of the conversation, people are sitting around here unfulfilled and unable to express themselves, thus taking their stress out on everybody else. Same thing for men. So we want to think about, again, what's the frequency, how you're doing it, and again, is it a safe thing? Are you just putting yourself out there and putting yourself in harm's way just because you want to constantly express yourself that way? That's a bad thing as well. So it's not saying go out and just be loosey-goosey. That's not what I'm saying in this conversation. So let me be clear. But what I am saying is when you are oppressing yourself, you want to make sure that you're not oppressing others. And then lastly, again, how do your views on sexual expression influence, and your choice influence how you show up and lead others? So what do y'all think about it? What are your thoughts when you looking like, what in the world do sex have to do with leadership? What are your thoughts on that? Y'all quiet today. I got to give me something before we go up off of here. And while y'all are doing that, I always want to say I'm available. Please check out www.Be.Lead.Grow.com, where it has information. You can always join us there, as well as our High Power Leaders Facebook group. So y'all going to be quiet on me today? But I know, again, this is definitely a different conversation that you may not even be comfortable putting out on Facebook, but it's definitely something that I want to make sure that you are giving yourself permission to have that kind of conversation with yourself. It doesn't have to be your conversation that you have with anybody else, but as long as you're having it with yourself and you're able to progress forward and to use your power as you see fit. You see, I'm over here thinking. You got me wondering. And I figured that. So I'm like, Angie, everybody ain't ready to have this conversation, because this is definitely not a traditional conversation that you have about leadership. Like, somebody told me, they was like, you may want to change that word. And I'm like, no. Like, oh my goodness. So today, again, I'm in Prague, Czech Republic, and in Europe, they are definitely way more open. So at the Intercontinental Hotel, it was, I'm trying to think what's the polite way, I don't know how to, whatever. Y'all adults. It was a man and two women engaged in sexual expression. And it's a statue in front of the hotel. Like, that's how bold they are here. I mean, naked, pleasing it's very interesting. And so, that's what I was going to say earlier. So we went to the Sexual Machines Museum earlier today, and it was just interesting, and particularly around like the religious thought, and how like a lot of the anti-masturbation conversation, and not only just conversation, but the different tools and clothing and different things that they had. And it was just like, again, what does freedom from that kind of mindset look like for us individually, so that we are honoring all aspects of ourselves, so that we can show up in the professional world. And I love what my girlfriend, Dr. Christy Monk, says. She says, before you can do anything professionally, you have to be willing to go there personally. So the more we try to think, let me just take this leadership development course and I'm going to be able to, get my confidence. But you really aren't really working on the real work. So this is the real work. So we want to talk about that. And we want to do this work. So with that said, y'all got some thinking to do. And tomorrow is our last day. I am ridiculously excited about tomorrow. And I hope that you all have gotten something out of this. If this is your first day, I encourage you to go back. You can check through the hashtag 8 Days of Power and to look at how you can influence your own amount of power that you have in a healthy way for yourself. Because our desire, of course, is to tap in so you don't tap out. We are not trying to, we are, as I say all the time, reducing the amount of strokes and overwhelm that exists in the world. So I'm Dr. Angela Shuttlesworth, and I hope you got something from tonight. And as always, I'm always coming back into the comments section, and I look forward to talking to you in the High Power Leaders group, as well as on Be.Lead.Grow.com. All righty, take care. You say, no, not the last day. I know, right? But there's always ways to work with me. So, but yeah, we done with 8 Days of Power. I'm going to have a challenge coming out soon. But yes. You got it. So thank you. I appreciate that. Even just saying that, like, wow, we got through this quick. Yes. So love you much. And I'll see you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Take care.